Right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I'm Terry Lin here with Travis Marziani, and today we're going to talk about 5 ways to mess up a Kickstarter launch. So, as you guys know, I just launched this week, so we'll talk about what went wrong and kind of some stuff that's going right and kind of what the game plan is going forward. So, before we get into that, Travis, you're doing a meetup soon, right? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so I finally broke down and actually got a meetup.com group going, and my plan is to do multiple meetups a month. In the past, we were only doing the one meetup once a month. We do brunch. We're still going to do that. We're actually doing it, I think, the same day that this episode's coming out, May 3rd. So it's usually going to be the first Sunday. We'll always do brunch. But another thing I want to start doing is what I call steaks and suits, which is basically we get a bunch of our e-commerce, internet marketing people together. We dress up, like get some nice suits, go out and get some steaks, and like have a good quality dinner together. And the idea is kind of like to treat ourselves like, I know as entrepreneurs, especially internet marketing entrepreneurs, you don't ever dress up anymore, which is nice. It's nice to work in your pajamas every day. But I think it'd be kind of cool to wear a suit every once in a while, like maybe once a month at most. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I do kind of miss my suit sometimes, but when I realize the hassle that goes in it, I'm like, I wear it once and I'll be, all right, I don't miss this that much anymore. But yeah, maybe once a month with cool friends, who knows, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you're wearing a suit to go out with your friends and like have some good dinner. And then afterwards, the plan is anyone that wants to go out and get some drinks, like go out on the town looking, extra spiffy. I think it'd be kind of nice. So the first one's going to be May 16th, just to let everybody know.
Exactly. And so for me, obviously I launched my Kickstarter. We're at around almost 10% now, 1,800, 1,900-ish, averaging around 400 per day. So a little bit slow, but if I keep this up, it's on track around day 40-ish, depending on that, how things spike or how things go. And then we'll just keep pushing it. And before we go into this episode, a quick shout out. We have 2 listeners that also have campaigns running. I just got noticed earlier this week. And when I sent the blast out there, I was like, hey, I also have a campaign running. So first one goes out to David Humphreys, a fellow e-commerce mafia member. He's got a campaign called Real Winder. It's basically a fly fishing tool that helps you clean, change, and store the flying line. So I actually have no idea how fly fishing works, but I'm going to link to it because he's a supporter. And so check it out on this episode. Go to the show notes, and then I'll post a link in there too. It's called the Real Winder. And second one is called the Rostrum Camera Stand by former guest Lex McCall over at Moda House. So he's a professional photographer, and he sells some camera gear. And he has a project where it's a stand that you can take overhead photos with your smartphone, essentially. So if you look at magazines or some Instagram accounts where people take a picture of their breakfast or like laptop from like a top-down angle, when you take it with a camera, usually you'll get some shadow of your feet or like your hat. So this camera stand, basically you just put it on top, and then it's a direct top-down type of thing for people into photography and all that stuff. So this is called a Rostrum Camera Stand, and the Real Winder. We'll link to these in the show notes of this episode. So number 1, not focusing on email lists early enough. So one thing I found interesting was that before I started, I asked some people, how many of the people in your backer list are people that you actually know? And they were saying, probably like 5 to 10%. And so one thing I guess I underestimated was, actually finding these, other 90% of the people somewhere online, either through forums, blogs, things like that. And now that I look back, you really should start maybe 6 months minimum in advance. And
That's so long. I don't know if I could do that, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. But really, I think the groundwork probably minimum 6 months. Minimum 3, definitely. If better, 6 or earlier too. So I guess the catch-22 is, if you don't have the product yet, how do you actually show people too, right? Because you would think that you want some prototype and then you'd show people. So I guess you could do kind of like a landing page type of thing with the prototype and just kind of gauge interest there. But it sounds like it doesn't sound as important as it is, I guess. But until you launch, now it's like looking back. So I really should have done that like last October. Like as soon as I got the first sample, that's all I should have been doing. Like screw prototyping. You should have just keep blasting, looking for emails.
So you just set up a website and then have a picture with your prototype and say put your email in to find out information when we launch?
So some people have different approaches where they do either you get a free giveaway chance for that, or you can get 30% off retail or some kind of like link baity type of thing too. So the good thing, so there's one campaign I found called Harry's. I don't know, they're like a razor company. What they had was they had a limited preview thing. So they had like 50 out of 50 signups where if you sign up early, it was like a press preview kit. So basically, what you need to do is you need to have like a small batch of samples that you can give away to people, and then you just have a minimum kind of like 50 accounts that you'll give away, and then you just get press people to sign up, and they'll do a preview right up when it launches too. So, but that's a little harder to pull off because there was some custom coding they had to do on the site. I'll link to the post, but they gave the code away too. You can take a look at that.
So,
later.
and then the second question, how do you drive traffic to that? So you have this landing page of, hey, someday maybe we're going to have a Kickstarter. How do you get people there without spending a lot of money?
Yeah, so one way, I guess, looking back is if I was able to make like 15, 20 samples, I would just give those away to like some bloggers or whoever that had the audience, and then make them do a post on this and then use that to drive traffic. That's probably what I would do. But I don't know if that works too because it's already too late. Maybe for the next campaign, or we'll see.
Yeah, I guess the big reason I'm kind of because I eventually want to do a Kickstarter, and this kind of idea of what I want people to, what I want other bloggers to post about, hey, go check out this guy's landing page, or would I want to wait till the Kickstarter's up and say, hey, go check out this guy's Kickstarter? And I feel like it'd be a lot better, go check out this guy's Kickstarter. So it's still like I don't fully understand how to properly drive traffic, which is...
Yeah, it's a catch-22 because if it's not live yet, they don't want to promote something that's not even there yet too, right? Because what if you don't even launch? It's like a waste of time for them too. So like I don't really know where the balance is at, but I mean if it's like a friend that has this, I mean maybe there's some relationship you can build there that's the hack. But if anyone knows, leave it in the comments and we'd be happy to share it too. Alrighty, so number 2, not having pre-launch samples in people's hands. So the way I messed this up was that I only had one sample like you saw, and I think it'd be really helpful to get it 20, 30 units in people's hands. And so the way to kind of do this is if you just ask the supplier for 30 units, they'll quote you a really high price. And so the way to do it is what my friend later told me was that you actually ask for 1,000, and then you ask for like 50 to 100 as like a sample, but you get it made at the price of 1,000 units. And then you say pending quality controls and approval by our US and EU team, then we'll move forward with it. So then you can get these samples at a good price, get them to bloggers, your friends, whatever, and then kind of drum up some people to then go out to your email list early on.
Yeah, you give it to influencers like me. No,
yeah, so like say you want to do like a butter or something, you could just make a small batch, give it to friends, and then they can drive people back to your website. By the way, we're gonna launch in a few months. Here, you sign up here to get the actual thing, and then it's a better push than just having something in the air on like a picture too, right?
So when you make those first 50 to 100, you give some of them away and you sell some, or would you just give all of them away, or how would you do that?
So what he says is you could use 100 as the minimum goal for your Kickstarter. So you use the price of that 100 units as the lowest possible tier for your Kickstarter. So say like each unit costs $15 to make. You would set your goal at like 2,000 or something like that to keep it artificially low. Because then if you put in 1,000 orders at like 15, you got to raise like 15,000 or whatever, right? And so by doing this, you can set a really small goal and then blow past it, and you have it out too. Because if you only have 100 pieces, you could just say, hey, the quality didn't meet our standards, and then thanks for the orders, but we're not going to put in the extra 700 or whatever 2,000. So it gives you an out also in some ways.
For your Kickstarter, how many, if you do meet the $20,000 goal, how many pieces would that equate to?
Around 250 to 300. Ish. So not that much, but based on the rewards, that's kind of what it comes out to. So and
how would you do that then? So I mean, could you say, yeah, negotiate a price for 1,000, then say we want 300 for quality control? That seems like a lot to get for just quality control.
Yeah, usually he says it's 50 to 100, but you could just inflate the order size to 2,000 and then say you want 300 for quality control.
Gotcha.
So you're getting the same amount of units, whether it's 100, 200, but you're just anchoring it with the bigger order size essentially, and then you're using it as like a quality control sample, which is pretty common apparently from what he said.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, and then that 300 goes against the total 1,000, 2,000 orders, and then you just if it goes through, then you buy more, and if it doesn't, you just that's all you got to do too. So really smart. He's really experienced, and I really should have figured this out too. In some ways. All right, so number 3, not having a paid advertising campaign optimized beforehand. So I think this goes into the email listing earlier, where if you can throw some money at paid traffic and figure out the right email conversion, that's probably a good thing to launch once you're live too. You could just flip that switch for the live campaign. Because if you can optimize that, you probably have a good idea of who you're targeting in terms of the ads, and then you just drive them to the page after that too. If you can get the right signups and then the right conversions and kind of take this to another level too, I think.
It's a scary thing for me to think about, because you're paying people to sign up for your email list. So then hopefully they'll go to your Kickstarter. Like, that has to be some pretty tight, I feel like, marketing.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing I'm doing now is there's probably like 5 to 8 people that I don't know who they are in the backer list. And so I stalk their profile to see who they are. And then I also email them through the back end and be like, hey, how'd you find this campaign? And they're like, oh, we found it through the discovery page, or whatever. And then I'll be like, all right, these guys look like they're like in their 40s. Let me just guesstimate some demographics and then optimize from there, I guess. So I guess that's another way too. Like, once you have some backers, you can try to get a profile on them, and then say you have a couple overlaps, just test different ad targeting things on this group too.
So as soon as they back you, you get their email? Is that how it works?
No, as soon as they back you, you get an alert. And then you don't get their email, but you can message them directly. What you can do is when you send an update, everyone gets it. So it's kind of like Amazon, where you don't get their email, but anything you send is through their platform. So you can still reach out individually, but some of them have like a link to their own website. Some of them don't. They're like a LinkedIn, whatever, or like their own blog, things like that. And you can't So the other thing is, I don't know if you can export the backer list and get the emails. That thing, I gotta wait till the campaign's over and see how that works, because right now I can't export any data yet, so we'll have to see in like 50 days or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know. I've been checking your campaign like every day, just watching the progress. It's been fun.
Yeah. All right. So number 4, not reaching out to other campaigns earlier for JV. So this goes back to my friend Vincent too. He was saying, look, a lot of other campaigns, people on Kickstarter, they like to back stuff. Generally, if they're hardcore backers, say they back 50 campaigns, 30 campaigns, they're usually into like supporting new things too. And what better way to get these people than from other campaigns that have already backed similar things, right? So for example, someone who's done like a belt or pants, and then say I do a case, we're not really competing, but we got a lot of similar kind of overlaps. So one thing I should have done earlier was to just reach out to these guys and be like, hey, here's my campaigns coming up in 2 weeks. What do you guys think? And can we do a JV? I'll promote you, you promote me. So I'm doing that right now. And it seems like everyone that's has a live campaign is down to it. But I think there's also leverage in having old campaigns with like 4,000 people that gave them each $50, where it's a really, really highly targeted list and proven, compared to say like a 10,000 email list that's just opt-in, and you don't even know what the conversion rate is too. Whereas these are people that gave money and are actually excited about kind of Kickstarter as a whole too.
Yeah, I mean, my mom might sign up for an email list, but it'd be hard to convince her to sign up for a Kickstarter. So these are people that are like, they know what Kickstarter is. They probably are down to support another one. That's really a good idea.
Yeah, and I think it's just finding the right people who have a similar kind of lifestyle avatar for the customer. Like say, you do dance clothing, someone who does like this is the cork yoga mat right now on Kickstarter now. So it's kind of cool. It's like I guess hot yoga, you sweat a lot. And current yoga mats, you kind of lose your grip.
Yep, get all slippery.
Exactly. So apparently this one is a cork kind of mat where it's bigger, and I guess cork absorbs water a lot quicker than other things, so you actually don't slip, and it actually works better as it gets wet too. So I thought that was kind of cool, and you could just reach out to someone like that. Hey, we'll just cross promote you and kind of things like that too.
So what's in it for let's say you have someone that's doing a belt, for instance, and you say, hey, will you send this out to your email list? What do they get in return?
Well, you say, hey, I'll send it out to my backers too in the next update. So the way you do it is you do it in your updates, because there's a section where you go like, hey, here's what we're up to, here's what the manufacturing is at, here's some photos, and then you can say, oh, by the way, check out our friends at cork yoga mats, and they're doing something cool here, here's some pictures of what they're doing, and check them out here. So basically you promote them and they promote you, essentially. So you're trading email lists in some ways.
Only reason I'm really interested about it is, the only reason I'm kind of skeptical, I guess I should say, is let's say you have 20 backers and they've had 4,000, they're a successful campaign, you're still in the middle of it. Like if you came to me and you're like, hey, I'll send out an email blast to all 20 of the people that have subscribed to my Kickstarter, will you send out to the 4,000 that have subscribed to yours? It seems like a little off. Yeah,
well then you could just back their campaign and be like, hey, I'm a backer of your campaign, would you mind helping out mine too? Right. So you just throw like $20 at them or whatever. Show that you're actually helping them out first, right?
Oh, so are these campaigns that are still live, or are these campaigns that have finished?
So you can do both. So my friend is doing one where it's finished, but apparently if it's both live, there's more excitement for both people too, because like you're both kind of in the same boat in some ways too, right? Whereas like the guy that's finished, he has he's dealing with manufacturing things like that, so he probably doesn't really care that much too.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I think the key is that just like even if you have 20 people, it's like how do you find value that you can give to people? There's got to be something, right? And I think even like a small gesture of donating like $15 or whatever, like to get access to 4,000 people, like the average per acquisition there is probably worth it, right? If you can get like two people to back yours at $10 like or whatever, why not, right? And then you probably get a cool product too. So number 5, not having enough folks preview the campaign link. So one issue I ran into after I launched was that I had like non-MacBook users ask me, hey, will this still fit my laptop? And actually it can, because all laptops pretty much are either 13 or 15 inch now. There's kind of some oddball ones at like 14 inch or like 9 inch, but like I think the mass majority, whether using like a Dell, Asus, Acer, it's like either 13 or 15, and there's little variations where like 15.4, 15.6, but overall it still fits in a 15-inch case either way. And I don't think I really clarified that enough, so it probably turned some people away starting out. And then I added this infographic there where if your laptop is this size, this model, it could still fit in this case and that case. And if you want to double check, here's how you measure your screen. And the way they do it is it's actually diagonal, so from the top right to the bottom left, and it doesn't count the border. So kind of the way laptop screens are made, it's kind of really weird too. So
oh yeah, I got a thick border on my laptop. That's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, if it's a 15-inch laptop, it could be like 15.2 to 15.6, but it's a diagonal width too. So it also ends up being like like a few millimeters off. And what that translates into a case is that it's just a little bit tighter, but it's not gonna like not fit. And if you have like a weird 14-inch one, you just have to buy a 15 one, because there's no 13-inch that can fit it. It's just a little, you just have to go one step bigger too. And I think 14 is a little weird space too. The market, if you go to like most stores, like I think 90% of the cases you find are either like 15-inch or 13-inch. And then because I don't think no one has the capacity to manufacture for every single size out there, it just doesn't make sense.
Your 13-inch model, is it for the MacBook Air or the regular MacBook?
So one thing, the Air is really thin. So we may make an Air one, but I'm not 100% sure. I got to see how this goes, and it makes sense.
Before I knew about your Kickstarter, I made the mistake of buying a one of those like laptop sleeves or whatever, and it comes with like foam inside to like help give it space. And since the MacBook Air is so skinny, I have to keep that foam in there. Otherwise, it's just like way too loose, like to help it fit within the sleeve, and it's annoying.
Yeah, it just flops around in there because it's so thin. It's so thin, you probably just need like not even a sleeve, but like a envelope or something like that for it to fit too. So it's almost, I think halfway through the campaign, depending how that goes, we'll just do an informal survey like, hey, what model do you have, just to give us an idea of what to produce. Because like to produce a smaller or bigger one isn't really that hard. It's just knowing how early do you need to do it. And because once we figure out the form factor, it's pretty much done, right? Like we're like 90% there. We just got to do like one or two more with a 13-inch, 15-inch to actually double check the size, and then maybe do like an Air if there's enough demand for that too. So, but then it depends on how the momentum goes and what people are actually using too. That we'll find out later on. So kind of hard to just say up in the air because you can make it, but if no one wants it, well.
I want it.
Alrighty, so I think those are the 5 things that you should prep. 1, build an email list early. 2, have some samples if you can, give it to people, let them sneak peek it. 3, try some paid ads campaigns. At least know kind of who you're targeting, that you can then flip the switch on later. Once you have actual backers, and you can optimize it some more, because then that'll constantly bring traffic for you too. Because one thing is that the blog traffic spikes a lot, whereas like I guess paid stuff can be a little bit more consistent over time too, and I think that takes time to figure out, and you need a budget too. All right, and number 4, reach out to campaigns earlier if you're going to do JBs, kind of cross collaboration updates. And number 5, have folks look at your preview link if you can. The cool thing is I think about 30% of the people that are finding it now and backing it are people I don't know, which means that the campaign page is working in the sense that it's not just friends backing it because they're friends. I mean, not like friends backing it's bad, but you want people who you don't know to back it, so there's some kind of traction out there with strangers. So the conversion rate is about 2.15%. So the way Kickstarter tells you is they give you a total amount of video views, and how many people watch it to the end. So right now there's about like 1,020 views, and 25% are watching it to completion. So you can ballpark 2% conversion rate, but if out of the people that watch the video, say 250 people, that's probably like 9 or 10%. So so if I can get 10 people to finish the video, probably one of them will back it at some level. And so the average pledge right now is around $85, and so to stay on track, I really need to get probably like $400 a day to hit it by like day 40 or so. So I guess knock on wood.
And I recommend watching the video all the way to completion. If you've ever wondered what it sounds like to hear Terry singing, you need to go watch that video.
Yeah, so I threw that in because I was like, man, I gotta have some kind of hook here to make people laugh. Otherwise, it's gonna be, oh yeah, it's just another stupid campaign. So I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but just watch it, and hope you like it.
Check out the video for sure. Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, we'll catch you guys next week, and hopefully we'll do better, and we'll see how this goes in a couple weeks.
See you guys next week.